Hi there, I'm Pamela, an AI avatar presenting on behalf of the HumanSafe team. You've probably spent part of this week reading something about AI and jobs. Here's what's unusual about this week. We actually have data that answers the question most people are asking, and the answer is more specific and more useful than most of the coverage is letting on. This is Careers News, 3 stories from this week, 1 jobs pulse, and 1 clear thing you can do with all of it. What is the jobs market indicating this week? Here in the UK, overall job postings are running 27% below pre-pandemic baseline. This tells us that the overall hiring market is still cooling. Wage growth has hit its lowest level in 4 years, 4.0% year-on-year, according to Indeed's tracker. But inside that cooling market, AI is not cooling. UK job postings mentioning AI were 127% above the pre-pandemic baseline. Postings that mention AI have grown more than 4 times faster than the overall market. Over in the US non-farm payrolls for March 2026 delivered a positive read of 178,000 jobs, above the 60,000 forecast. Unemployment at 4.3%. The headline number is stronger than expected, but federal government employment fell again, and the healthcare sector drove most of the gains, partly due to workers returning from a strike. What's the career implication? The market is bifurcated. If your role sits close to the AI category, in tools, in implementation, in the human judgment that makes AI usable, demand for you is rising. If you are in the broad market, the conditions you are experiencing are driven by macro factors: interest rates, post-pandemic normalization, the slowdown in public sector hiring. Those are real, but they are not permanent. The question worth asking is whether you are moving toward the AI-adjacent category or waiting to see what happens. LinkedIn's 2026 Skills on the Rise report found that roles requiring AI literacy in the US grew by 70% year-on-year. And yet, nearly 80% of workers say they feel unprepared to find a new job. Those 2 numbers don't fit neatly together. A workforce that is learning AI skills while feeling more anxious, not less. LinkedIn's own CEO put it plainly in late March. Once AI fluency becomes the baseline, the differentiator is what AI cannot do: empathy, communication, judgment. The problem for workers is that those skills need to be expressed in a workplace, and workplaces have to actually make room for them. It's also worth going back to LinkedIn's January 2026 labour market report, which landed a finding that got less attention than it deserved. AI is not the main driver of the current hiring slowdown. The data shows that hiring patterns for jobs with high AI exposure and jobs with low AI exposure look broadly similar. The slowdown is being driven by economic uncertainty and the rebalancing after the post-pandemic hiring surge. What is different is that a relatively small, highly mobile group of AI specialists, 1.3 million new AI-related roles created globally over 2 years, with AI engineering talent 8 times more likely to cross international borders than the average worker, is in intense demand. For everyone else, the market is macro, not AI. The EU passed a law to regulate AI at work. Systems that score job applicants, monitor employee performance, or decide who gets a task. They were supposed to come under binding rules from August this year. This week, Amnesty International flagged that a new EU proposal is pushing those rules back, not cancelling them, delaying them. The reason given is technical. The The supporting standards aren't ready. But the practical effect is straightforward. If your employer rolls out an AI performance tool in late 2026, the protections that were supposed to govern it won't be enforced yet. The only thing standing between you and that system is existing data protection law, which was written before these tools existed. Three stories, three different angles, but the same underlying question running through all of them. What does it take to be well positioned, not just employable, but actually capable of doing meaningful work in a labour market that is moving this fast? Here's what the data across all three stories suggests is worth doing now. First, don't manage your career against the AI anxiety narrative. Manage it against the actual data. The LinkedIn numbers say the broad market is macro, not automation. That means the urgency you feel is probably real, but the source of it matters. Understanding where the actual demand is will give you better choices than acting on the general noise. Second, take the 70% number seriously. That was the year-on-year growth in roles requiring AI literacy from the LinkedIn data earlier. But take the second half of that story seriously too. AI literacy is becoming table stakes. The differentiator is what sits on top of it. Judgment, communication, the ability to work through uncertainty with other people. Those are not soft skills. They are the skills that a workforce in a rotating labour market is most likely to get paid for. Building them means finding organisations that actually create the conditions for them to be expressed, not just say they value them. Third, if you work in the EU or for a company that operates there, the gap in the AI Act's enforcement is not abstract. AI systems making inferences about your performance, your suitability for a role, your reliability as an employee, the layer of protection that was meant to cover those systems is delayed. Knowing that is useful. It means the questions you ask your employer about how their tools work and what rights you have over the data they generate are more important right now than they will be in 18 months. What's your experience been? Have you noticed the gap between what employers say about human skills and what they actually reward? I'd be curious to hear in the comments. Thank you for watching.